I have been absolutely obsessed. I don't know if you've heard, but there's been a viral Chase money glitch. Okay, if you haven't seen it, basically someone on TikTok said that there was a money glitch at Chase where if you deposit a check for a large amount, an amount you don't have, it will let you withdraw the full amount that you just made up, right? And that is just check fraud. That's actually the plainest fraud you can do. To walk up to an ATM and be like, I'd like to lie, please. That's not legal at all. And so I saw the TikTok and I was like, uh-oh, I hope nobody does this. I hope nobody does. I hope not a single person does this. I hope no one does it because it's the worst type of fraud you can do. I hope nobody does this at all. And then I went to Twitter and 6,000 people had done it. Like, in the time that I saw it, there were already people who were like, yo, we out here living. And watching people you don't know commit fraud is like watching your uncle wear a suit he thinks he can pull off. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, no, not in front of everyone, not in front of everyone. Because that's what it was in front of everyone. They not only did the check fraud, but they all made videos, which is how I was watching. This wasn't a rumor. I was like, that's a high definition camera that you are committing crimes in right now. I am so, man, the jails will be full. That's a lot. Because, you know, they were playing with money that they didn't really have, and they were spending it on things they shouldn't have been spending it on. And so, you know, I know I'm not the first person to say this. I'm late when it comes to saying this, but I need to say it just to reiterate one more time in case anybody doesn't understand why check fraud is a very, very bad idea. They went to Chase Bank, right? And then they wrote their name. All over a check. And then they went to their bank, which was Chase Bank, with their name on that check, and then put that fake money into their account, which your bank account has every number that makes you identifiable. Like, your bank has your address. It has your social security number. It has the numbers of places you used to live. Like, they have so much information about you. Chase might as well just go to the police station and be like, we need to make a few printouts. And so people were doing the check fraud, but then this is the other thing. This is what happened. This is why people started doing it, right? Basically, the glitch, as people were calling it, some of it was just straight up check fraud because they will give you a portion of the check because they haven't verified the check yet, but it's law that they have to make a portion available immediately, right? And so there was a mistake for maybe, who knows, 10 minutes, an hour, where someone put in a check and it gave them the full amount immediately. It did not do that for most people. Most people got a portion. So when you see them throwing money, they definitely had to pick it up right after. Like, it's like... Don't let the internet lie to you. Like, they threw that money for the video and then they were like, oh God, whenever I see stuff like that, I always think to myself, like, y'all didn't factor in the wind at all. Like, you balling for these next 3 seconds, but as soon as there's a gust, you're gonna be running into traffic, screaming, no! And so basically, there was that side of the glitch. Another side of the glitch was that there were people who were also requesting loans, like pretty high loans. And the loans were also appearing, for some reason, appearing in their bank account in full, even though all the money wasn't available, right? So that part is a mistake on Chase's part on the website. But what's actually happening when they were withdrawing the money was just a little bit was coming out. That little bit was just a portion of a bigger amount, right? But then Chase caught on pretty quick because they posted it to the internet, right? Which is where Chase also is. If Chase was one of these mom and pop banks where mom worked the teller and dad was the personal banker, maybe they would have gotten away with it for quite a while. But because Chase is also on the internet, Chase saw the mistake they were supposedly making. They corrected it immediately. They put a 7-day hold on people's accounts that were affected by this activity, right? But then, because they never had the money and because they already withdrew some of the money, they were getting negative balances as high as $72,000, right? Which red $72,000, I think I'm just gonna change my name. That's when you open your bank account and you go, whose bank account is this? I don't know him at all. I am moving. But this is why you shouldn't let the internet lie to you, not just because they give bad advice with no repercussions, but also because there were people that were faking it. There are people that were faking the glitch, literally just to go viral. There were people who were going to the ATM, withdrawing their real money, not doing the scam, then throwing the money in the air for the video, and then immediately being like, y'all, help me. There were even people who were pretending, using other people's screenshots, pretending that they also had a negative $48,000 balance, and it was all just for attention. And it's so important to remember that. It's important to remember that half of the internet is for attention. Almost none of this is real. None of I could be AI. None of this is real. And so when you take things that are fun on the internet and you bring them into the real world, you could screw up your entire life, because check fraud is so much a felony. Check fraud is one of those felonies that someone does that's not even a dangerous person. It's just you'll be like, man, where is Cousin Willie? I have not seen him at the last 3 Thanksgivings. And then your grandma go, okay, so Willie, he got into a little bit of trouble at Bank of America. It was a misunderstanding with her. Because grandmas always try to make you seem less of a criminal. Grandma, you commit a crime and grandma be like, he had an accident. It was an accident. He is a sweet child. It was an accident because basically he got a little argument with one of his friends, and then he fell, because they were pushing each other. Then he fell on his friend, but he had just been holding a knife at the time. That's why we praying for him to get out, because I know his spirit. I know my baby, and my baby would never stab someone to death. My baby. How the police know he wasn't trying to get the knife out? You know what I mean? That's why it went in so many times, because it kept slipping in and he kept pulling it out. Why didn't they ask why that man's body was magnetic? Why didn't they do that? My baby ain't no murderer. You do check fraud, your grandma's like, that's not even his handwriting. But grandma, is his name at his bank put into his account, and they just came and got him. Yeah, but I don't know. That when a grandma really has nothing for you, when you did it so hard, when you did it in front of her, that's when she's like, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, the one thing a grandma is not is a snitch. Grandmas... Okay. All right. So back in the day, so I grew up in Louisiana, right? And back in the day, we weren't friends, but I knew this kid, and he was like, this kid in my neighborhood was getting arrested, and it was a whole big scene because, like, basically, I don't know what he was getting arrested for, but the police thought that they needed 18 of them. Like, it was... I don't know what he did, but everybody showed up, if nothing else, just to watch. Like, that's... And that dude's grandma came outside screaming, like, he didn't do it. Typical grandma. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. And then she tried to fake a heart attack. I was like, damn, grandma a G right here. That's probably what G stands for, if you go back all the way. She was like, don't take my baby, don't take... Oh no, my heart. And you could tell she was faking it too, because she like really planned the fall. Like the fall... Because she knew she couldn't just fall however she wanted to fall. She may never get up again. So she was... in her little nightgown and everything. Looking for a soft spot on the ground. Oh no, not my baby, my heart. Ugh. I just can't stress it enough. Please do not do wire or check fraud. It's like, it's so easy to not do. We're all not doing it right now. And I don't want to, look, I'm not coming from some holier than thou place either. I understand crime. I understand why people do crime. Like, if you've ever been broke, you get crime. Crime makes so much sense if you're broke. I don't understand when rich people do crime, because they already have things. Do you know what I mean? If you do crime as a rich person, you're really doing it for the love of the game. If you are a multi-millionaire and you embezzle hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're doing it for chips. Like, this isn't... You just felt like being bad or something, trying to spice up your life. A poor person doing a crime makes so much sense. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. That's a thing. I'd like to have it. Simple math, you know? I've been hungry. You hungry? Man, I wish I had something to eat. But on this planet, in this country, we trade money for things to eat. And I don't have any of that, so I guess I just won't eat. And then you don't eat for long enough that you're like, damn, the food is right there. You know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna do a crime. And then you grab an apple or something, and then, you know, grocer sees you, and you try to run, but you can't because you don't have any energy. So you get caught, and it's all very sad because you get charged with theft, but you took it because you were hungry. Like, crime, when you're broke, makes sense, you know? We don't like it, but it's true. It just does. And it's weird because it's like, Chase isn't... Chase... This is what bothers me about the whole thing. It was dumb of these people to do it. But to do it to Chase is like weirdly full circle. Chase got bailed out in 2008 for about $12 billion. And they needed those $12 billion because they were playing with money that wasn't theirs. And they were... They made the video, it just didn't go viral. You know what I mean? So it just, I don't know, there's a deep irony in that like, you know, one of the major powerhouses, probably the biggest bank in the country that contributed to near financial collapse, is gonna go ahead and get theirs back from some of the people that they made poor. It's pretty harrowing, you know? But every single one, I don't care if you were a kid, if you were grown, there was a line, by the way. There was a line at the Chase ATM, so a lot of people were doing this at once. There was such a long line. Okay, I didn't know about the scam until late. I am late when it comes to everybody doing this. It's already over and Chase has like settled it and they're probably gonna go get their money back. But I was in line one of the days and I don't look like I wouldn't do it. I'm standing in line like, come on now. This line's never been this long before. That guy's throwing money. That's irresponsible. No. It's just, you know, you should know. I don't care your age. I don't care if it was on the internet or if it was a rumor you heard in real life. You should know that you cannot just take money that's not yours as a poor person. If you want to steal millions of dollars, you need to already have millions of dollars. There is a Chase money glitch. It just only benefits Chase. You know, the only people who can just print money with absolutely no consequence are the Federal Reserve. Everyone else has to deal with it. That's a tough one. It really is. Because I think about how some people are like actually in real like felony trouble. I don't know what I would do if I committed a felony, but I was just joking. This is a terrible predicament to be in. Some of these people are like 20, you know? They're like, guys, I don't know, I just wrote too many zeros, my bad. The only one of these scams that I really thought was like funny and was really rooting for the people on was that DoorDash one. I don't know if you saw this, but basically there was this DoorDash scam that was essentially the same thing. It was kind of tied to a Cash App scam. There are a lot of scams if you pay attention. It is crazy how much we're doing them now, how much we're doing like wire and check fraud. Like we, as Americans, we have become the Nigerian princes of the world. Because I know Nigerians. I know Nigerians from Nigeria. And they are like, what is happening over there? Do you need us to send you something? Like, y'all are down bad as a people and as a country. This is hard to watch. But basically, there was like a DoorDash scam / Cash App scam where basically Cash App was letting you, it was basically letting you have a balance without pulling it from your bank. So then people were saying that they had enormous amounts of money, right? But then weren't able to pull it out. Like they weren't able to transfer this imaginary money to their bank. That thank God they weren't able to do wire fraud, but like they weren't able to send it. But what they could do is, as long as a full transaction was online and they linked it somewhere else, they could pay for things online with this fake money, right? And so what a lot of people would do was use their Cash App fake money to get stuff on DoorDash, which feels like the most fulfilling of the scams, because like you can make me pay back money, but you can't take the burritos out of me. You know what I mean? Like when the police come, I'm gonna be full, all right? And when they put me in the car, that car's suspension will be in trouble. I had the opportunity not too long ago to really be a hero. Like, you know, you don't know when your hero moments are gonna come. They just show up, and then you act like the person you are in that moment. And I had the opportunity to be a hero, and I didn't take it. I looked that moment in the face. I was like, you must be looking at somebody else. Huh? I don't know what to tell you. This is bad. Basically, I was at a friend's house, and while I was there, some other people basically broke out into a fight, and like a real fight. We're not arguing. No one's talking anymore. Fists going and everything. And there was a moment where I could see a gap. I could see a pocket where I could have broke it up. And breaking up a fight is a very precarious position to put yourself in, because most fights that you want to break up, especially if it's two people, if it's three, it's gone too far. You know, you're not going to be able to double dutch that one. You know what I mean? But two, you wait for a moment where they're like both tired, or they're trying to wrestle, or, you know, they're backing up to like get started to fight. You know, that little back up hop step. This is usually, okay, when someone doesn't really know how to fight, they do too much prep for the fight. You know what I mean? Like there was, okay, I know I'm digressing to digress, but basically one time in high school, there were these two kids that were about to fight, and I didn't even bother trying to break it up because one kid stretched. And I was like, nobody that's really about to beat you down goes, oh, okay, you about to get it. You just give me a second. I'll be over there in a minute. You just. And so, said all that to say that, you know, there was this moment where they were backing up, and one of them, you could tell he couldn't really fight because his hop, when he was backing up to prep, looked weird, right? Because he didn't hop like, you know, like if somebody can really box, or if they've got like some movement, some footwork, they have the little hop. This dude went, okay, then here it is then. This man wanted to fight so bad, but just had to step on 1,000 roaches first. Like, in what world is this getting you ready? You look like you've already been hitting your cerebellum when you move like that. But anyway, they get to fighting, right? And I could have jumped in, but I was like, you know what? No. Because when you jump in to stop this fight, you need to be bigger than both people, right? The way you jump in and stop a fight, usually it's hand first, like you get the hand in there so that's the warning. Hey, stop swinging. Somebody else here. You might not hit him, you might hit me. Hey, right? and then you put your body in between the two of them. And the idea is that your body will be big enough that they're like, I want to punch, but there's too much to get around. And that isn't the case with me, you know what I mean? Like, I can't... I want to jump in and stop the fight, you know, like a principal, just like, hey now. Okay, so, all right. I did see, okay, so years ago when I was in high school, I went with a friend to pick another friend up because all three of us went to different high schools, right? And so he could drive first, so he picked me up after school, and then we went to pick up our other friend. Now, our other friend was waiting outside of the school, but a fight had also, a few feet away, had also broken out at the school, and the principal did this exact thing, like, hey now, and you could tell he doesn't want to get in there because the hey nows were too frequent. Like, this man, hey now. But he stopped the fight because he was just being too big for both those boys to get at each other, right? And I don't have that. Like, if I jump in, I will catch a stray. Like, I'm gonna walk right into a fence. Brothers, please. And so then the fight breaks out, and the guy that I thought couldn't fight, it turns out he can fight if he keeps the fight weird, right? Because in fighting, in hand-to-hand combat, in battle, right, you use what you have. You use your hands, fists, elbows, knees, shins, foot, everything that you can. If you wrestle them to the ground using your weight, using leverage, there's just lots of going on with your body when it comes to a fight. But what I've never seen, and I watch fighting, I watch combat sports, I like watching boxing, I like watching kickboxing. I've seen people who can kickbox in real life in like a street fight. I've seen people who can box in real life in a street fight. I've seen people use their knees, like Muay Thai moves, elbows, all that stuff. I've never seen somebody who just grabs. It is harrowing to watch. Because my man is over here trying to like fight, like he's fighting, right? And he's like punching and kneeing and kicking and everything like that. And the other dude, anytime he get close, he's just like, So now this dude punching while also being hella uncomfortable. Like you can see where he's like, hey, when does this cross over into a different type of assault? Do you know what I mean? Because because at one point the dude was trying to dodge a punch and then like grab, and I think he thought he was doing kung fu. Because, you know, you've seen the movies where they're like, ha, and then like just Black Panthering you up, you know what I mean? This dude at one point went to dodge a punch, but clearly, we could all see it, clearly grabbed the inner thigh of the dude he was fighting. And you see that dude miss with his punch, but also be like... And so they're fighting, and then there's one point where, you know, the dude who really knows how to fight pushed the grabber away. Because I think he just needed a break. Imagine you beating somebody's ass and they're still like, it's devastating. And so then I realized that I made the right decision, not because I didn't want to be grabbed, but also I knew I made the right decision because when they re-engaged, the dude who knew how to fight, okay. I shouldn't laugh, but all right. I knew I made the right decision when the dude that knew how to fight threw a microwave, right? And I think, okay, this is what I think happened in my mind, right? No one even saw him with a microwave. We didn't know where the microwave came from. You know what I mean? And I think we were distracted because when he pushed the grabber off, the grabber was ready. He was still like had energy, even though he had lumps all over him and everything. And he was just standing like. And I'm not even kidding. At one point, I guess when he thought the fight was about to kick back off, we were all looking at his hand and he went, here. Like. And that must have been when old boy grabbed the microwave, because we were all like, it's weird. And there's a thing about when you're in hand-to-hand combat and you're losing, that's usually when someone reaches for a weapon, but the weapons normally make sense. I'm losing a fight. I'm in a home. I'm gonna grab something that's gonna give me a mechanical advantage, like a hammer or a knife. You know what I mean? Like, I love, one of my favorite things in the world, I've only seen it like twice ever, but one of my favorite things of all time is when somebody in a fight and they hit somebody with a book. Because it's literally poetic. When you hit someone with a book, it makes it feel like the book is in on the fight, right? Like if we're fighting and then I hit you with some James Baldwin, I'm giving you culture, right? I'm educating you. Somebody being dumb, you hit them with an encyclopedia. Read. You know? Somebody talking crazy, you hit them with a dictionary. You're literally giving them better words to use. But the thing about a microwave is that when it's coming at you in the air, it's all corners. When a microwave is hurtling towards your head, it's nothing but angles, all right? You would think it was a diamond, the way that it moves through the air. I guess I'd never seen one fly before, so I was like, wow, right? And so then, the best you can hope for, if you can't catch the microwave, if it's coming at you too fast and spinning too hard for you to dodge or stop it, is to just get hit with a flat surface, right? The best case scenario is that you get hit with a microwave that's coming at you door first, like a window. That feels like it has the most give to it. But that didn't happen at all. This dude threw the microwave at the grabber, and that dude got hit in the head with the popcorn button. And I've never seen a person shut off faster, right? Like, this dude caught a microwave in the head, and you just saw him go, like, I've never seen someone go limp that fast, right? We were all standing there like, I think he dead. Like, the only reason we knew he wasn't dead is that finally, after like 30 seconds, which 30 seconds when you think you're looking at a dead body is forever. That's... When you think that somehow you might go to jail too, you've been looking at that body all day. But he was clearly like down for 30 seconds, and then we just saw him be like, oh. So, he's fine.
Did everybody
get their Spotify Wrapped. Yeah, okay. I think Apple Music does it too now. This is my thing. I feel like those Wraps are the closest things apps have to doing an intervention. Because the app will come to you at the end of the year and be like, hey, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. There's no judgment here. I'm just saying I looked at the data. It's not even my opinion. This is just hardline facts. I looked at the data, and you've been listening to a lot of Imagine Dragons. Is everything okay? Are you all right? I'm just checking. No. You were in the top 0.05% of Drake listeners. Is there therapy that we can schedule? No. You've listened to the song Stand by Eminem 672,000 times. I don't even know how you pulled that off, because that's more minutes than there are in the year. Playing the song that many times, but you did it. I will tell you though, we did have to alert Eminem and let him know that somebody want to stab him, I guess. I don't know. Y'all got y'all got George Santos today. Sure. It's funny to me because George Santos' whole defense of himself was that y'all picking on me, but you got other members of Congress that are out here sleeping with lobbyists, stealing your tax dollars and everything, but you gonna put it all on me. And I get what he's, in that moment I do get what he's saying. There are plenty of people doing very crooked things in Congress that are not gonna have the comeuppance that he just had. That is a fact, right? To be fair though, George Santos is the type of person that you do the heist with, and y'all pull it off, and the next day he show up in a fur coat. And you're like, nigga, you could have laid low. What is wrong with you? He's like, what? It's fabulous. It doesn't. Because I'm not gonna lie, George Santos is a snazzy dresser. I can't hold him. He really is. Every time I saw him, he looked like he was in a different cut or something that I'd never seen before. You know, dressing from the future. This is my thing though. Like, he spent all this money, campaign money, on stuff like Botox. But you know what? Good for him. He wanted to look good for you. You know who doesn't spend money on Botox? We be letting Mitch McConnell sag in front of us all the time. Nobody says anything. This man's sagging nonstop. He's swinging, he's sagging so much. If you get Mitch to turn around fast, you might catch something in the chin. You gotta do a rope-a-dope. Anytime Mitch turn around fast, you're like, oh. But George was like, no, I'm not gonna steal from you and be looking raggedy. That's not the type of person that I am. You're gonna get one or the other, all right? I can either show up looking dusty, you can keep all your little money, or you can get to see this. Spent money on OnlyFans. I say, fair enough.
The little bit of OnlyFans money he spent, okay, it's improper. He should be taken to task for it, right? But you know what's way more expensive? Using tax dollars to fund a whole mistress. You know what I mean? You gotta get her an apartment. You gotta fly her where you're gonna be. You gotta pay for her real boyfriend to go to school. Like, it's a lot of expenses. Spent money on Hermes. I didn't even know what Hermes was. Luxury bags. Are they men's?
Hermes. It's pronounced Hermes.
Oh, this is what happens with poor people try to pronounce. This is what happens when one of the poors puts luxury in his mouth. Yeah. Spent money on Hermes and Versace. Yeah. Wow, no. My bad. Thank you for correcting me. Imagine if I had gone around the country saying Hermes over and over again. I guess I still don't know what a Hermes bag is. Fair enough.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I was the one that doesn't know how to misspell them with my mouth. That last laugh felt like you were laughing at me being poor. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't care for that one. That was, you know, like you'll be a little self-deprecating and then somebody will be like, ha! It's like, wow, okay. Tell me how you really feel. Yeah. I can't drive. Thank you. Yeah, you neither? Yeah. I can't drive. I don't have a driver's license. I grew up in Louisiana, and that's where I failed the test. And so I would just have to, walk or run everywhere, which in Louisiana is both dangerous and exhausting. But I remember I took driver's ed, and came time to do my driving test. It was bad. I don't know what it was. I panicked because I was in one of those driving test cars, So it had the brakes on his side, the brakes on my side, but just the wheel on my side, right? And I drove decently at the start. I'm good at rights. If I gotta take a right, I'm a fuck up a right, all right? Like I can cut a wheel on a right. I do rights like Formula One. It's the lefts that get me. Because there's just so many places you can go when you're trying to go left, Take a wide turn, you can make a sharp left, Lefts make me nervous. And so it was a left that did me in. I was doing the test. I'd done okay. We had just started. And then I drove on 3 lawns. I had to take a left. And so then I took the left, and I guess I was not cutting the wheel tight enough. And so then before I knew it, I was on the lawn, right? Now, the first lawn was because I wanted to make sure I was avoiding the car that was oncoming, right? Like, let me go ahead and get out the way. The second lawn was because I wasn't sure if I had the room to merge back into the road. By the time I was on the third lawn, I did forget I was on lawns. I was just kind of like, well, he knows I'm doing my best. And it wasn't until he said, "Get off the lawn, son," that I was like, you're right. Let me go ahead and merge back into the regular street. And then I did pretty well. I did pretty well after that for a little while. But then, once again, it was time to take a left. And the light, to me, the light was green, and then it was yellow, and then it was red, and it was the fastest yellow I've ever seen in my life. It was like the green was here, and we were good. And then as I started to turn, the yellow was like it just became a red. And so then I didn't want to run the light, so I did stop in the middle of the intersection. Because in my mind, I was like, there won't be an accident if I just stop and let people go around, right? So I'm just waving people around. And so then everybody going around me, and he finally turned to me after a couple cars passed, and he was like, "What are you trying to do?" And I was like, I thought I'd let them go because I didn't want you to like nix me for points for running the light. And then he was like, "You ran the light immediately. You were running the light when you got here." I was like, "That was a fast yellow though." And he's like, It wasn't at all. That was a regular yellow. You just panicked. I watched you. You panicked and you hit the gas, then you hit the brake, and now we're here. And so I had to take a couple more lefts, so I knew I wasn't going to pass. It was getting bad, right? And so then he made me stop. He made me stop, which I didn't even think they could do. I didn't know that you could be at the driver test. They're like, "You know what? Nah." Like, I thought they had to let you finish for you to fail. He was like, "Nah, you points-wise, there's no way you could make a comeback right now, so let's just stop. I'm gonna drive you back." So he wanted me to stop the car and for us to switch, but he offered me something very sweet. This was very nice. He said to me, he was like, "Look, I know you thought you were gonna get your license today. I also know that your mom brought you. So I tell you what, I'm gonna drive us back, and about a block away, we can switch back, and I'll let you drive up, and you can tell her it didn't work out this time, but you'll be back, right?" And I was like, "That's very nice." And then he immediately regretted his offer because then he was saying that to me when we were at like just a road, right? But not like, this wasn't like the intersections road. This was just like a side road we were on that nobody else was on when he told me to stop. And so then I was like, "Okay, sounds good." So then I just got out the car, but I didn't put it in park. I was just letting it go. Now I'm young, I'm spry, so I'm able to just pop out the car, right? So then I didn't even notice it was at a slow roll at the moment. And so I pop out and I'm walking around the car when I notice I got to keep up with the car. I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't put it in park." Now he has his door open, right? But he is in his mid-50s. And so he having trouble getting out. So I know what I should have done. I should have run back in, jumped in, stopped the car, put it in park and everything. But in my mind, I did my job. I'm on this side right now. This is my side now. It's his job to get out. Now he is trying to stop the car, but he got one foot out and he doing like a Flintstone, like trying to stop because it's barely rolling. It's not like driving. It's just like a slow roll. So then he's like, "Come on now, come on now, come on." He's saying "come on now" to himself as he's stomping. And I don't know why he keeps stomping. Just keep your foot there. That's how Fred did it, you know? Just like, he put it and then he let it drag. But this man is just like, "Come on now, come on, come on." So I didn't get my license. I still take the train everywhere.
He's the newest correspondent on The Daily Show. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Tom Stanley,
Tell you what, though. I've been reading as much news as I can about it, and there's no way to be fully up to date because it's all still developing. But they really won't let us have or not have TikTok. There's so much conflicting news. I've never seen so many notifications on news. News notifications that said maybe. No news is solidified. Like, is TikTok banned or is it not? You know, because it's like not right now. But it's not right now the way TikTok feels like how I used to pay my light bill. Do you know what I mean? Because it be looming. I'm like, they gonna shut it off. I gotta get together. They gonna shut it off. All right. And then I call them up and be like, look, if I can get you $45 today, how much light will that get me? And like, well, your bill is past due. So past due is past due. We gotta shut it off as past due. And I'm like, but it would be less past due if it was $45 closer to not past due, right? And they're like, sir, it doesn't really work like that. I'm like, it works however you work it. Come on, I need to see. Because there was this looming ban, and then the Biden administration, which is wild. Both, at one point, Trump didn't want TikTok. Trump was like, I'm going to ban TikTok. This is years ago, but he was like, I'm going to ban TikTok. And then not much really happened with it. Then they actually like passed a bill under Biden where they were going to ban TikTok. And then it was like looming for like months. And it felt like nobody was really talking about it. Not no one as in absolutely no one, but just like the news and stuff. There were other things to cover. And then it got close. And then it got to yesterday. And it was gone. And it was gone early. It was supposed to be this morning that they cut it off. And then last night they were like, let's be safe. And they shut it off. But when they shut it off, I was like, I don't know if they really needed to do that. We had 4 more hours. I was looking at the way I look at my light bill. Like, if they had cut off my light early, I'd be like, just because I don't have the money doesn't mean you got to take. Now you owe me 4 hours of light. That's 4 hours where I better see at night. We have so little faith in our government actioning anything that we were like, nah, it's probably not gonna get bad. Like they said that, but they say stuff. That's what they do. They just be talking all the time. You ever watch C-SPAN? That's just them talking. And then they talk, and then they're like, no, we promise you'll have health care eventually. And then we're like, well, it still hurt, and it's infected now. So I guarantee you they're not gonna ban it because I've been sick. Been sick, and they said they were going to help me, and they still working on helping me. So there's no way they could do one thing before the other. They got to help me with my sickness before they ban the app. Oh no, they did it. Okay, wow. It also comes down to what people use the apps for, because they all serve a different purpose. Lots of people have everything, by the way. Lots of people have all the platforms because they use them for different things. Even if they post the same thing on everything, they get different things out of it, like different feedback from the different communities that are on all the platforms, right? Because every platform has a different function. You go like Facebook. Facebook is like general life updates, but in like a major way. It's when paragraphs worth of stuff has happened to you. You know? And there's pictures too, but the pictures usually go along. Usually it's like somebody quit their job, so they post a picture of a sunset, and then they just talk about everything their job ever did wrong to anybody. Really air out the whole job in the post. Twitter is mostly for when you hate something. You mostly bring what you hate to Twitter to get other people mad about it. I've had good days, and then I accidentally opened Twitter, and then I got mad about a whole host of things that I've never thought I would be mad. I didn't even know it existed until I read about it on Twitter. I don't even know if it's real. It could be a lie, but I'm very angry. No. It's so bad on Twitter that Elon Musk was like, we gotta start being more positive, y'all. The richest, trolliest troll of all time was getting lit up so hard. He was like, y'all, kindness is the way, though. Not like the more the more I live, the longer I live, the more I can tell that like positivity, that's the stuff. You know, Instagram is in an interesting place right now. I'm sure everybody has a different algorithm, but Instagram been a lot more butts lately for me, and all I really do is like look up pictures of Shiba Inus, and so I don't know where they're getting Shiba Inu and then just ass from that. But we are where we are. You know, Reddit is a huge platform that doesn't get enough credit for being like in the top 5 of like used platforms. You know? And on Reddit, that's where the secrets come out. You find out stuff on Reddit you didn't think was humanly possible. People will tell you stuff on Reddit that either happened to them or that they did, where you wish that there was. You know how people said for a long time Facebook wouldn't do anything about it. For a long time, everyone was using Facebook. So this was talking about like when I was in like high school, college, everybody was using Facebook, and they were like, why can you only like stuff? You should be able to dislike stuff. You should be able to, and they finally added all the emoji icons for the different reactions to a post. On Reddit, when I'm reading sometimes, I deeply wish that there was just a police icon, just so I could be like, all right, that is jail. That's jail. Because the amount of jail-worthy things that get admitted on Reddit is truly astounding. The level of honesty coming out would make a detective shudder. Sometimes a detective is in the room hearing somebody's confession, and all the detective posts under it in the thread is, that's crazy. Like, this is your job, sir. There are bodies to find. And then TikTok served a new purpose. TikTok was in this really interesting place. I don't know if it still is to everyone, but it had the jump. It had the corner market when it came out on like authenticity. Yes. You could blow up on TikTok by being yourself. There was no like algorithmic thing that you had to figure out. Some people went that route. Some people were like, oh, you know, you have to have a flash on your video in the first 2.5 seconds. That'll make people blink, and before they know it, they've been watching for 10 minutes. Like, there were all these posts about how to get people on your page and keep them there and get followers, stuff like that. But mostly what people were won over with and how followings grew was people just being themselves. In fact, people on TikTok didn't like a polished look. That was like a real separation from the rest of social, because everything else, whether it was YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, even Reddit, when videos were posted to a degree, people really got into the production quality, because for so long, all we had was Hollywood. Those are the only people that could make things that looked good, that were entertaining. And so then when it started to break out away just from Hollywood into the masses, and if you're very talented and you know what to do with a camera and you can tell a story, now people are watching your thing because it's Hollywood quality. But TikTok came along and people liked that it was messy. They liked that you were just in your room. They liked that you were just talking to them. Maybe your mic was a little off. The amount of people who post TikTok have a camera in their car to talk to the world. That's a TikTok thing. Instagram didn't have that. If you tried to talk to people on Instagram from your car in a video, telling them your thoughts, your feelings about life, you go back before TikTok blew up, you try to do this in your car on Facebook, people would be like, oh, you mentally ill, okay. I didn't know. I had no idea until you started talking about your breakup in your car. Like I was in the room with you, but I'm not. Like, TikTok invented all that stuff. Like, I'm not saying that there weren't people who were posting and streaming and doing stuff everywhere, but I'm talking about making it normal, right? That was a TikTok thing. And even if you have the same piece of information, you post it to the platform with different expectations, you know? let's say you got engaged and you tell everybody on Reddit. Not everyone, but a lot of people on Reddit, when you post your engagement photo, for some reason they'll rip you apart. For some reason, they'll really come for you and be like, why you so tall? Of course, another Chad gets a girl. I mean, because people on Reddit, they can be incredible and they can be ruthless. Like any app, all of them. But Reddit, people have a special talent for getting in those feelings, you know what I mean? Like, you'll just post a picture of your hand with the finger, with the engagement ring on it. Why your finger's so fat? I'm surprised you got it on. You're gonna have to leave it on for the rest of your life. It's never coming off now. I hope he the one, because that ring never slipping off. You could have all the butter in the world, okay? You post your engagement to Twitter. Good luck. They may not rip you apart, but you may be served with like an entire essay about how marriage was actually this form of slavery that's been used by the patriarchy since the beginning of time, but really in feudalism to control women and stop them from finding any joy or autonomy of their own. And every time they try to break away from this sort of structure, they get beat back down by other women, actually, with the expectation that they're going to build a nuclear family, because without them, the country will fall into shambles and it'll all be their fault. I mean, everything is a woman's fault when you think about it, but for the most part, this one thing will be their fault because it's them actually doing it, you know what I mean? And then you'll get to the bottom and be like, I regret posting. You'll post your engagement to Instagram. Instagram, I'm not gonna lie, that will be one of the better places to post, but it will be filled with a lot of fake love. It'll be filled with a lot of comments like, oh, girl, you look so good. Oh, wow, and what a beautiful, the lighting and everything. Where people on Instagram go to talk trash is the DM. You know what I mean? So everything they would have said to your face on Reddit, they say behind your back in the DM after they post, and they give it a like and they comment, ooh, you two were meant for each other. It's not gonna last. Post is here, DM is here, and people going back and forth. They'll start a whole thread under you. They'll start a whole thread under your post about how perfect y'all are for each other. I remember the first day that y'all met. It was so sweet, and he asked if he could buy you a drink. He's a total creep. I always knew he was a creep. At least she got him off the streets. It's just wonderful that your love has lasted so long. Y'all been together for 4 years. That's incredible. What a beautiful relationship. I'm surprised it took him this long. Yeah. One time, I had a friend get engaged, and sure enough, they posted to Instagram. The whole thing was going down. It was all happening, right? It was all happening. All the love, all the likes, all the you know, like when the emoji is the yellow emoji, but the eyes are hearts and the mouth is way too wide. You know what I'm talking about? And it was all of that. And then a thread got started with these two friends just gushing over the pictures and how they looked and how cute it was because he brought the dog. And then it was like him and the dog were proposing, like, be part of our family. It was so sweet. And then at the very bottom, they must have mistaken the post for the DM, because the very bottom, one of the friends was like, bitch. You post your Instagram, you expect certain things, you know. You post your engagement to TikTok, anything could happen. Because once again, the thing that led people to people was their sort of authenticity. So if you post to Instagram, now the parasocial relationship that gets built on Instagram is different, because those people are like people that you probably kind of knew. Facebook used to just be people that you know. And Instagram made it more popular to have friends that you were never gonna meet, but you do know, right? TikTok now has completely lost that sort of connection, but there is a parasocial relationship from the amount of time someone has been following you. So you post your engagement to TikTok, and people are either over the moon for you, or they're like, why am I seeing this? What's so special about your love that's on the For You page? Like, I'm not really digging this at all. It's either people who have watched you make TikToks about going on the date, about meeting the person, about dating the person, and then now you're engaged and they feel like they're there with you because they've watched you over this 4-year period. Get close to a person, start to trust them, talk about love, talk about relationship, and now you're engaged. It just feels like this moment that everyone's having together, right? Maybe you're pregnant. And you post your pregnancy announcement to Reddit. Yep. You post your pregnancy announcement to Reddit, and Reddit is like, good for you, I guess. Glad that you found somebody to bring somebody into the world with and stuff. Good. Happy for you. Here's a picture of Pikachu for some reason. You post your pregnancy announcement to X. And a thread starts. A thread from a quote tweet of you posting your pregnancy from someone who doesn't know you, talking about how pregnancy is actually a patriarchal tool that's been used since the beginning of time. Since Eve, it's been used as a structure to hold women down, connected to men that do not deserve them, all right? Men that just sort of anchored them to the family unit. And they say that they'll be providers, but they go off and they die in wars caused by other men for treasure and for land. And then you are left with the child, and a child that will eventually resent you for not having that sort of male figure in their life, because it's your fault that he went to war. It's your fault that there was even a war, because you were just living being a woman while there was war. How dare you, right? And so then people start arguing in the thing. People you don't know, by the way. You don't know these people at all, but now they're arguing about the merits of pregnancy. And then it turns into this weird thing about if you should breastfeed or use formula, and then everybody's like kind of attacking each other on that, and people are saying some really out-of-pocket things, and you don't really know who these people are because they have like avatars of anime, but at the same time they're talking about how like you're not a real mom unless you breastfeed, and you're like, in what world are you even human, or are you AI? Like this feels like the CIA or something. It's crazy. And post your pregnancy to Instagram. Get ready. Get ready for the overwhelming amount of fake love and bad advice. Random bad advice too. Comments that are not only not helpful, they're almost not what the post is about in a way. It'll be like, congratulations, but don't drink any lemon water for 7 months, all right? Like, why? It's like, oh, I did, and now my son is a felon. It's like, You post your pregnancy to Facebook. People are over the moon, you know? They're like, oh, I can't. That's amazing. Look at you. I even read the whole thing. I even read the whole post, and now I'm going to give it the little hug one. You know, the hug one? You only use the hug one when somebody's pregnant or when something really bad has happened. You only use the hug emoji in the best of times or the worst of times. There's no in between. It's never, I got a new job, hug emoji. It's either like, this is the best day of my life, hug emoji, or at 12:58, we lost. You post your pregnancy announcement to TikTok. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild because while you're posting to TikTok in the announcement that you're pregnant, yeah, you might have followers that are excited for you, but you stub your toe. And when you stub your toe, for a split second, you just hit your toe because you're walking and talking because you don't have it on the tripod. You got your phone in your hand because once again, we like authenticity. Obviously, a ring light is good. We like to see the people. But for the most part, we just want to feel like we're part of your life. And so you're going around, look at the baby room, everybody. That's because we're pregnant. Yay. Oh. And now that one errant noise is the most popular TikTok of all time. That one errant noise. There's just people are now putting that noise to whole historical events, right? You'll see a whole historical event. You'll see the most irreverent posts. You know, somebody will pull something in black and white, something like the Hindenburg or something, and just your voice going, oh! I mean, somebody will make a TikTok of their uncle falling down with no noise except you going, oh! No, we're deeply unserious people. It's all in how we communicate. Like even if you're having an argument, like let's say maybe it's not a breakup, but let's say it's to that level where you're like, should I break up with this person? We're not getting along. We're not getting along at all. This doesn't even make any sense. You shouldn't be in a relationship that has this much stress. And so then you go ahead and you post exactly what happened from your point of view to Reddit. It's some of the best reading you'll ever read in your life. You know, some of the best reading of all time, you know. Am I wrong? Am I the a-hole? All this stuff. It's great. And you post everything that happened. And then the opinions start flowing in, right? And the opinions are anything from, look, I think that with enough communication and an understanding of a genuine foundation of the love that you have for each other, y'all can come to a consensus about what happened. It goes from that to kill him in his sleep. Go ahead. No, I wouldn't take that if I was you. If it were me, I'm gonna make him a pie. I'm gonna fill it full of glass. And then he gonna be eating the pie because he greedy. He gonna be eating the pie. I love apple pie. I know you love apple pie, stupid. I know it. And he gonna be eating the apple glass pie, and then all of a sudden he gonna be like, yo, my stomach hurt. And then he gonna reach for his phone. I'm gonna grab the phone and use the phone to record him while he on the ground. Ooh, my stomach hurt. Oh. Then I'm gonna ask him, was it worth it? Do you feel right now? And then I might call the ambulance, I might not. Let me see how I feel when I do it. People will admit to whole crimes they're willing to commit based off of things that other people said when they just simply asked the question, am I wrong? You said, hey, am I wrong? I don't want to go to another one of my spouse's office parties and they threw a big tantrum about it. Am I wrong? And then someone on Reddit was like, no, you're not wrong. In fact, you should kill them right now. Kill them before they can even go to work again. And then a detective in the chat room, in the thread, is like, that's crazy. I wouldn't do that. You post an argument that you're having to X. Here's what happened. Look, I'm just throwing it out there. This is what happened. And then you get quote tweeted. Someone you don't know who like knows the situation because they read the tweet, but is clearly inserting a lot from their life into the argument you're having. Because you're like, hey, I don't want to go to another one of my spouse's office parties. Am I wrong? Because they threw a big tantrum about it, said that I don't support them and stuff. And then someone quote tweets it and they say, you know what? I've been in a situation like this, and while we don't know each other, I feel like we're in a similar boat because the person that I was dating at the time was very selfish, and anytime I wanted to do something or not do something for my own well-being, they didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to be a part of it, right? It was either their way or the highway. It was either their way or I was a bad partner, you know? And just because I didn't want to be with them while they were doing their work, I was a bad partner, which isn't fair because they were a drug mule, all right? They were a drug mule, and because I don't want to travel that much, I'm cool with them drug muling. I just don't like going to Mexico. Mexico like that. I don't need that many trips to Tijuana. I just want to stay home one weekend. But they're like, no, you need to hold the bag. I don't want to hold the bag. You're the mule, not me. Mule better. Why are you muling with help? Do your job. It's your job. It's not our job. I work in an office. You post the argument that you're having to Instagram. And it's kind of hard because it's just like, it just doesn't really fit in that way. Like it's hard to be like, here's a picture of us arguing. Y'all go ahead and argue about it amongst yourselves. Or you could even tell a story. You could try to tell a story about what happened, but people on Instagram just don't really engage like that sometimes. Like, obviously there's arguments on Instagram and people can go back and forth in the comments and stuff. But as far as like being with you throughout the story of the argument and swiping enough times to see the whole argument, it's probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? You post the argument that you're having to Facebook, and you do get a lot of opinions, but they're mostly emojis. They're mostly like, I'm sorry you're going through that, huh? You know? Or, I can't believe them, angry face. You know? Or worse, you just get a like. I don't even know what that means. I don't know whose side are you on. I'm asking for help, but you hit me with a like. That honestly, in text and on Facebook, is some of the most disrespect that you can do when somebody really needs help, when they really need something, and you hit them with a... Just say you don't care. Please, you didn't even care enough to type out, I don't care. You hit them with a... Y'all, I don't know, I'm in negotiations right now for a job, and they said that I should set my asking price, you know, for my salary, and I've never done that before. And I looked up the normal, like, market salary for the job that I'm doing, and it's a little high from what they advertise, but it's entry level, so I don't know if I should try to bump them up and let them bring me back down, or if I give them a price that's too high, that they'll just not call me back, you know? The disrespect. You post the argument that you're having to TikTok, and not only will someone take your side, they'll take the audio of you explain the argument, and they will set it to the most beautiful scenery you've ever seen. Use it as inspiration for somebody else to leave their partner. And they turned it back on this morning. It was gone for all of whatever. 12 hours some places. I feel bad for Canadians, because apparently it got shut off for some Canadians too, and they were like, what did we do? We weren't even really in it like that. How does that affect us? And then, you know, had a message this morning. They were like, oh, we're going to reinstate TikTok. And it's off of goodwill. It's off the faith that an executive order is coming on Monday from Trump that would extend the lifespan before a ban, right? But nothing has really changed, because the whole thing that they said was that as long as ByteDance maintains, like, ownership, or as long as it's Chinese owned, we can't have that. Only we can spy on us. Because I want to be clear here. The thing, I'm not acting as if there is nothing to be worried about with TikTok as far as like surveillance, as far as just sharing of information, everything. I'm just saying that, like, the apps, as soon as Apple saw all of the tracking that was going on, and that they could get in on that tracking, but they really didn't benefit from the tracking or not the tracking. People just were in the app store, right? They added a thing where now, when you open an app for the first time, or it's usually within the first few times you use an app, it'll open up and then you'll get an Apple notification that says, ask app not to track or allow, right? And the things I had to ask to not track was genuinely what, like, almost every app is spying on you. Apps that there's no way they're getting anything. I had an extra alarm app. The phone already come with an alarm, and I got an extra alarm because I didn't really like the alarm that the phone came with. So I said, let me download this alarm. And then it popped up on my phone, ask app not to track. I'm like, track what? I'm asleep. Like, who you gonna tell that I'm asleep? Can you imagine just sharing the data just every day? Every day he wake up at 8 o'clock. Do with that what you will. You know? Because honestly, that's how I feel about data. It's like everyone is stealing it or tracking it, and we as individuals have not fully embraced the importance of it. Like the importance of that privacy, because we don't really know what it's like, because we were already spying on us. So we don't know what it's like to go from like no privacy to no privacy, and by what entity and how that affects us. You know, there's certain stuff that I'm sure is going to lead to something really horrible. They're going to track enough habits, and then they'll be able to target you with something you can't help but buy. That's usually the goal of it, is to like sell you another thing down the line, right? Nobody's really trying to get to me like that. Like the alarm app hitting up assassins. Like, hey, if you want to know where he is, he's going to be knocked out for the next 8 hours. You might want to make your move now. You know? But your privacy is important because it's yours. One of the things that even Google does, sometimes when you're on a route, right? Google will then ask you questions later from that route that you took. Hey, was it quick? Was it slow? How many people were there? And it's like, I don't work here. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't you weren't with me. You just put it in blue and I followed it. We don't have a relationship like that. How long did it take? Did it take the time that we said, or did it take 5 extra minutes? And it's like, stop trying to get me to help you with your homework. That's all it is. If they want you to do that for them, they should genuinely do something for you. You know? Like, I know the Maps app comes with the phone, but they should do something extra. You know? Google should do you a solid if they're going to get you to be doing them favors. You can't just glean all this stuff off of people and then give them nothing in return, right? Because then they don't even give you credit. They change the route. The next person that's going where you were going from where you were, they tell them, like, it's actually going to take 40 minutes, not 35. And they don't say, that's courtesy of Curtis. Curtis, the one, let us know how long it was actually going to take. We were over here just kind of guessing, and then Curtis was like, it took me 40. So now we said 40 to be safe, so you won't be mad at us and we'll look better, right? They don't do that. They're just like, 40 minutes, and I bet you were right. And I don't know. I don't know if it's good or not at all as far as like TikTok goes. People are genuinely addicted to TikTok, but they're addicted to a lot of things. But people are so addicted to TikTok that it made me change my mindset around some addictions, right? Because people will say the kids are addicted to TikTok and they're doing all this bad stuff and they're losing their minds when they can't be on their phone. But then you see, when the ban was looming, the people who were really like chronically on TikTok and were worried about the ban, they started downloading other apps. Apps that were more Chinese. There are people downloading like Red Note on the cover, at least for me, didn't even say Red Note. That just said Chinese. It was written in Chinese. It could have said anything. Downloaded it, got on it. Chinese users were calling TikTok US users refugees to our face. And they weren't even being like hella rude. They weren't even clowning us that hard. They were just like, I know you don't have anywhere to go. So let this be a new home for you, okay? We embrace you. And people wanted TikTok in their lives so bad. They wanted it so bad that they were learning Chinese. Duolingo use of English to Chinese went up 216%. They wanted TikTok so bad. They were learning Chinese. They might still be learning Chinese because once again, this thing isn't over. They were learning Chinese in real time. I've never been so addicted it made me learn. You know what I mean? You know what no one has ever treated like crack? School, okay? No one has ever been outside their schoolhouse early. Just, I gotta get in, baby. No, they got all the math in there. I gotta get me some. Why would you lock the doors like that? You got all that geometry in there, all the shapes and stuff. You know how it is. I just want to be part of it. Let me do some factions, baby. Never. Even when you try to teach people the thing that they supposedly want to learn, sometimes they don't want to learn it. Sometimes you're not in the mood, right? That's how that's how I know that TikTok is one of the most powerful phenomenons we've experienced. There are people in college right now trying to get a degree in something that use ChatGPT often. This is the thing that you said you want to do with your life. You're literally going into debt to do it. And you're still like, hey, ChatGPT, what's a kidney? I mean, they got me over here doing all this pre-med biology, anatomy stuff and everything. What's a kidney? Like, do you even need that one? Is that like, can you get it removed like tonsils? No, man. It's insane. And I don't know what's next, you know? Because as of the time I'm talking to you right now, the executive order hasn't gone out. I'm not saying it wouldn't go out. It makes perfect sense for it to go out. Because even Trump himself has said that the U.S. should own a stake in it, right? But when he said the U.S. should own a stake in it, he, I think, meant more like the government. Because everything happening right now, make no mistake, is very good for TikTok. It's incredibly good for TikTok because now there's buyers coming out of the woodwork. They had this whole time to try to get some sort of stake. They were already talking to Microsoft a little bit, you know? And then now you see Mr. Beast, you see all these people. Like, hey, look, fine, y'all. I'll buy it. I'll do it, you know? And then Musk is like, I'll buy it. And when Musk said he buy it, I was like, maybe just let China have this one. Like, that's not... I can't imagine Musk trying to run Twitter and TikTok. Because with Twitter, he ruined Twitter. And I'm not saying this as some bleeding heart liberal or something like that. Oh, Twitter's not what it used to be. He literally called it X, which nobody liked. I don't know anybody that was like, X? Oh, yeah, that's badass, dog. Yeah. Because then when you tweet, you'll X. So then you could X somebody out. Like you could just be cursing them out on your tweets and you Xing them. I love that. Said nobody. He already changed the name to something that doesn't make sense. And then it's an insane app now. It's genuinely crazy. No one likes it. It was getting big. It was getting big for a minute with the Nazis. No, genuinely, Nazis were like all about Twitter for a second. They were like, first of all, we back, okay? First of all, we back because we were getting banned. We were calling people stuff and getting banned. We were posting swastikas and getting banned. And then we were saying we like wanted to kill everybody and we were getting banned. But now we back. You know, never thought I'd see a Nazi try to crip walk before, but like, they were so excited when he reinstated all those accounts. They were like, hey! I'm doing that little dance. They can't really dance. They really just got the one move, you know what I mean? Okay. And then they got into it with Elon over different things. Because this is the thing that tripped me out about Elon buying Twitter and everybody saying it was because he was trying to save or maintain, preserve free speech, is that he immediately, even in the pursuit of buying, even before it was final, he was doing stuff that was like very anti-free speech. Like you would get into it with Elon, and then all of a sudden, something would be like off with your account, right? And as soon as he took it over, he was like, guys, this whole blue checks off everybody liking you, that's done. That's done. You gotta buy your blue checks now. You have to buy your cool, because it's the only way he knows how to do it. And then this dude made this weird check system which nobody understood. They just knew if you paid like $9 a month or whatever, people would actually see what you tweeted. And everybody was calling it tweet still. Everybody. I don't know who besides the news sometimes says X. And then he offers, hey, I'll buy this one too. If Elon had bought TikTok, I think it would have fundamentally destroyed communication. I feel like, yeah. And look, it may still happen. There may still come a day where, you know, he buys TikTok, calls it X squared. You know, he might buy TikTok and just rename it to something stupid. Like, let's just get straight to the point. It's called Clock now. I mean, who knows? We really are in this holding pattern. It's a holding pattern that is deeply frustrating, and it's like one of the most symbolic ways that government can get in the way, because both Trump and Biden have said, I want a TikTok ban at one point. And then both Trump and Biden have tried to not enforce the thing that they said that they wanted. Because even with Biden, it got down to like, you know, last 5 days of his presidency, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna do y'all a solid. I'm not even gonna force the ban. I'm gonna kick it over to Trump, let him see what he wants to do, right? As if that was a move. And then the Supreme Court got involved. The Supreme Court, they didn't just uphold the ban, they were like, and you better shut down. I was like, who are these nerds? I didn't even know the Supreme Court could do it. Like, I knew that they could uphold the ban. Like, I knew legally they could say something. I didn't know they could make anybody do anything. Now I'm confused who has the power, because then the Supreme Court was like, yeah, you have to shut down. And then Biden was like, I'm not going to force it. But the Supreme Court was like, you better shut down. And then Trump is like, well, I will issue an executive order. How does an executive order from one president beat another president's not doing anything about it? Do you see how, like, it would be like if you were doing a bunch of illegal stuff, right? Let's say you're just doing hella illegal stuff. You got guns, you got drugs, you're doing all sorts of crimes. And then right at the same time, the FBI, the ATF, and the local police show up, and they just pointing guns at each other, arguing about who's gonna arrest you. Is what it feels like. It's like, who can do something? That's crazy. You sitting there, everybody got an AR-15 or a Glock or And you're like, look, I'll go with whoever, but just tell me before I move. Because y'all all got one point at each other and pointed at me. And I just did what I did. I don't want to be shot extra. You know? And that's the thing. That's how it keeps you. That's how it keeps you ready to lose your mind, because you just want some form of clarity, you know? And this is all, sadly, all this is happening because the thing that TikTok gave people by existing as an app and allowing people to be on it was just community. That's all it is. People aren't necessarily just addicted to TikTok because they figured out an algorithm that was like very pleasing to the eye, or because videos are very short, or there's like earworm music that you can love to listen to over and over again, or it gets stuck in your head. Genuinely, the thing that addicted people to TikTok was community. It was like, oh, I've always been weird, and now I met weirdos like me. You'll get addicted to that. It's kind of that thing. Getting addicted to community is not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of what having a family is like. You know? But we're so genuinely fractured in how we move that it's easier to build community and relationship with people that are distant from you online than it is like right here. Like, you ever tried to make a friend in real time? Making a friend in real time. You ever thought you were friends with somebody and then you went in for the hug? Getting a hug rejected is way worse than getting a kiss rejected. Like, a kiss is just like, okay, we're at a level, I thought something was happening that wasn't happening. You know what I mean? And the kiss getting rejected is very subtle because you can lean in, they can be like, what are you doing, right? Getting a hug rejected is a whole dodge. That's a whole Heisman right there. You ever go to hug somebody you think is your friend? I think I'm friends with people way too fast. So you ever go to hug somebody you think is your friend and then you get a hand in the chest? It's like, whoa, what you doing, buddy? What's the plan here? I've tried to hug people before that look like they would rather me rob them. You know? So it's hard. It's hard to even guess what's going to happen, because one of the main reasons that they wanted a ban was because they could not control the flow of information, and they could not control the way that people were communicating with each other. You know, if you can control community, then you have everything. If you can tell a whole community what to do or how to think, then you have a power over them that is really scary, because it's not just a connection that you have with them to get them to do something. It's the fact that them going against the grain may make them lose everything. It's how cults work, you know? And everything that they accuse TikTok of doing is already what Facebook does. It's already what Twitter does, Instagram, you know? They just do it in a different way. And they do it in a way that's not as cohesive, right? Because they are really trying to get your money. And so you look at something like how people operate on TikTok. And sure, there's misinformation everywhere. There's people maybe leading people down a bad path. You wouldn't have some of the hardcore manosphere type dudes without TikTok either, you know? Young people watching this thing. This guy seems cool. He's got a cool car, and he's telling you he can get you girls, he can get you whatever. And so then you watch the next one, the next one, the next one. And before you know it, you are kind of talking like him. You are doing what he does. But that can happen anywhere. That's not a thing specific to TikTok. Social is very powerful, and it's powerful in a way that I think we underestimate sometimes, because you got to remember that our grandparents did not grow up with this stuff. This is ours. This thing, when you were a kid and the internet was popping off, you know, or maybe you're younger than that and the internet's just always been around. It makes me feel pretty old. You know, I remember I had to explain a modem. Having to explain a modem makes you look like you drove the first Ford vehicle. Like I had to explain the modem, not just like, I had to explain that like a modem and a router used to be different. And that you used to have to put one here and put one here. It was a different thing. And then they combined it one day and y'all spoiled because now all of it in one. When you buy the internet, when they send you internet to your house, it made me talk old. Just like I got so caught up in like the fact that they were born in like 2003 that I was like, no, see, you spoiled because when they send that internet to your house, when you plug in them internets, you just get it right away. We didn't always get it. We had to troubleshoot it. We had to be like, now the router say I got internet, but the modem say I don't. So then let these two battle it out real quick. You know, sometimes you got a modem in and the modem didn't even work. You be getting mad. You shaking the modem. Because our grandparents didn't grow up with this sort of thing, but they are just, look, Facebook is their TikTok. Every generation of people has a TikTok is TikTok for the young people. A little bit older, Instagram is our TikTok. And then Facebook is TikTok. You want to know how I know it's their TikTok? Because the things that they pull off of Facebook, the things they say to me that they saw on Facebook, I've never heard in the history of my life. I remember when TikTok came out and I was like, damn, everybody 18 and younger can just dance now. That's crazy. Everywhere I do, you would see people making TikToks out in the world just in a parking lot like... You know? And then you see that. It's not dancing. It's in the form of like conspiracy theories with our grandparents. Our grandparents saying stuff coming off of Facebook I've never heard before. They'd be like, hey, you know them dinosaur eggs they found? What? Them dinosaur eggs they found. They full of gold. My boy was talking. Straight up. He was talking to his granddad. His granddad had been going down this thread of conversation, had joined this community on Facebook, and his granddad genuinely explained to him what was happening that nobody was talking about right now, really went into lots of detail and stuff. And what his granddad thought was actually happening in the current moment was just the plot of the movie The Mummy. It was just him being like, no, see, you don't understand. So they buried these dudes a while back. They mummies, right? But then they buried them with these like talisman type things. And so they could wake up at any moment. Like you gonna see it. It's gonna be just like COVID. You know, everybody gonna be living their life. Then all of a sudden somebody gonna be like, oh, and then... The levels of conspiracy I've seen off Facebook lets me know that like, okay, part of what's happening is that they literally join. It says it, community. They join this community. And they talk to these people all the time. These people get each other riled up. They enjoy each other's company, at least in a sense, right? They're typing, but it's still like somebody is there. If you want your grandparents to stop believing in conspiracy theories that they get off of Facebook, just call them. It would be the biggest distraction to conspiracy theories we've ever seen. Just call, just distract them. Just be like, hey, you on the computer right now? Hey, how about you just sit down and chat with me? Let's FaceTime. And then in the FaceTime, you can make sure that you don't see the glow of a computer on their face. And you can just talk to them about things that are actually happening. How's your day going? Oh, well, you know, my hip isn't what it used to be. You know what I mean? But just that, building community with your family stops this thing of like, you know, them dinosaur eggs. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad anymore. You know, like a part of me thinks that maybe it's pretty good because of what I saw as it was shutting down, I saw people sharing some of the first TikToks they ever watched, some of the first ones they ever fell in love with. Everybody was like really coming to it. I didn't even see a bunch of infighting. There wasn't like 5 things that men should stop doing if they ever want to date again. It's like, it was just people being like, hey, remember this thing? That was pretty funny. That was so nice. You know? And I hope it can continue that way. I hope we can always treat TikTok like this thing that we almost lost if it does stay. You know? Because when you almost lose something, you kind of hold it a little bit more precious, right? You know? And then it could be like the opposite of X. It could be like But the main thing that people got so rabid over with TikTok was just connection. You're in a community now. You know, you're a community of people. These people get you. These people are either going through what you're going through, or they at least understand what you're going through. So there's a shared language that I don't have to break down what I'm like to every single person all the time. You know? And then to lose that, yeah, it might make you learn Chinese.
Welcome to the Josh Johnson Show. I'm Josh Johnson, joined by my co-host and fellow stand-up comedian, Logan Nielsen. Logan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I think I pulled my back in my sleep.
Let me put my...
I woke up and it hurt so bad, and I was fine when I went to bed.
Yeah. I've had similar experiences where I wake up with a tight shoulder. I'm like, did I just pitch 6 innings in my sleep? Like, how the hell did I pull that off?
Yeah. My girlfriend asked me what was wrong, and I wouldn't tell her.
Why'd you just look like you were in a bad mood? And
no one should mate with anyone that they know is this weak. It doesn't bode well for offspring.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're pulling your back out when your skin's still tight.
What's the dumbest injury you've ever gotten? Like, just like of that level of like doing nothing, hurt yourself.
Okay. So in PE in school, this is the other thing. This is why I actually believe in certain martial arts that look silly. I actually think that with the right practice, they could work. So you see stuff that's like, you see these like Wing Chun videos or, Aikido stuff or, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, that would never work in a real fight. And it's like, yeah, sure. Especially jazzercise. Especially getting physical in skin tights.
Yeah. Solid gold dancing. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Well, because you see stuff like that and you're like, this would never work. But you don't know that it wouldn't work because under the right circumstances, anything could work,
Right.
And I feel that because one time we were playing volleyball in PE and I went to just do like, one of those underhanded like hooks of the ball, like pop it back up in the air and everything. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I connected with the ball, so this isn't even me trying to punch the ball back up. As soon as I connected with the ball, I like basically pulled the hamstring on my other leg.
Oh, jeez.
And so it was like, imagine the ball coming to meet my hand. The ball doesn't even go back up in the air. It just hits my hand and droops off my hand and hits the ground. And then I hit the ground screaming. It was like out of a cartoon because I was just like, ah! And then as soon as I went to hit it, it like some weird. If it was like a kung fu cartoon, you would have seen my skeleton or something. It looked like the worst version of Mortal Kombat. It's crazy because you don't think you could hurt yourself in such a awkward way.
Right, yeah. No, it's I think we've mentioned it before, but I've had multiple times where I've genuinely hurt my back by just having that moment where you step on ice and go, "Whoo?" Like just doing that. I've done it multiple times where I've been like, then my back is fucked up for like a whole day. You reminded me though of volleyball injuries. I weirdly have a couple of injuries associated. Well, one's not really an injury, but with volleyballs involved. In middle school, I remember there was a recess where we were just like, and it was like in the gym because I think it was like during the winter, and it was just like like this point in middle school for some reason we would still get like short recesses, but they don't really do it anymore. But we used to still. I remember we were in the gym and we were just playing dodgeball. We just split the gym down the middle, a lot of us, and we're just playing dodgeball. But we were like using volleyballs and just really winging them at each other. And I remember this one kid threw. I think I remember who it was, but he was like a pitcher and like a quarterback and stuff. Had good arm on him. He launches it at me, square in the balls, just drops me to my knees. And the second my knees hit the ground, another one hits me right in the face and then knocks me backwards. So it was just like wham, wham. And then this is the only time I've ever had this like with a nut shot. Then like my balls hurt for an entire class period after that. And I went to my next class and I just sat down and like everyone kept walking by like, "Hey, you doing okay, buddy?" And I just like sat down and like put my head on the desk. I was like, "Oh God!" And then the teacher comes up and he's like, "Logan, you okay? What's the matter?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I just took one in the jewels." Like was my exact wording.
Oh my gosh!
And then he was like, "Well, okay, sorry. Science is starting now. Sorry about your balls. I don't think I can say it as a teacher. I'll get fired."
Yeah, you probably won't be able to learn this at like this class, but you come back ready tomorrow.
Yeah, just know some good stuff's happening on the board. You'll get it later. Don't worry.
Yeah. It is funny because it's like when you in PE, our PE teacher was like a true sadist, and he had us play dodgeball. But one dodgeball game would last the entire period.
Oh, really?
So what he would do if you were out and you wanted to stay in, which of course everyone did at the beginning, you had to do this very weird, complicated run, like up and down the bleachers. Like you didn't just do a lap around the bleachers and come back. You had to go up the bleachers, down again. Then you had to go across the bleachers and then up. Then you had to come down again and then do like a circle. It was like it would take you some time.
Run over to the bench, solve the Rubik's Cube, run back, tag your partner.
Yeah, it was like the Amazing Race without any puzzles. It was just because then even when
the
I was
Amazing Race
out,
without any adventure.
Yeah, I was out, and then I was like, "What do I need to do again?" And he got exasperated with me, like I'm
like you made it up.
Yeah, like I made it up. I'm like, wouldn't it just say 4 times? Like, why are you making it this like it almost felt like he made us run that very specific course to get us dizzy so that we were worse when we came back in. Because kids were getting out and they'd run the course, and now you're coming back into the game winded.
Yeah.
And so you're winded, dizzy, and you got hit by a dodgeball, so you're not feeling great.
What happened to just like jailbreak? Like just way off to the side, wait for jailbreak. What's this new step?
Dude was a maniac. Dude was legit, like he was insane.
For your PE, did you like, because since you're saying your PE teacher was a maniac, was it like all just fitness stuff all the time basically? Did you have that kind of PE? Because I found there's a lot of different tiers that people had in their PE class growing up. Like some were like, you hear about some people, it's like it was constantly like doing the running and rope climbing and like all that stuff. And then mine was like, we literally went ice fishing and did archery and did orienteering and we did rappelling and scuba diving.
Jeez.
We did so much shit. Horseshoes. Tennis, shuffleboard, like we did billiards one year. He would just get, actually a couple years in a row, he would just get a bunch of pool tables from I don't know where.
Yeah.
And we would just take over the wrestling room, and like a couple weeks would be us just getting good at pool.
That's insane.
I know.
That's amazing.
I know ours is super weird, but
that seems like PE at a boarding school.
kind of. But it's like I think it was just a small school in Iowa, and like most kids are in sports, so it's like didn't have to push a lot of us that hard, and the ones who really don't want to run are the ones who are gonna have an excuse to get out of it every other day anyway.
I mean, we had a general. We
went
had
bowling.
At least what I feel is general.
Yeah,
Bowling.
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 For some reason, trying to correct it, I almost said boiling.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say boiling. And
Yeah,
then I was just
yeah,
like, what sport is that?
Yeah, no, we spent a couple weeks just boiling, crawfish. We just really got into,
Yeah,
just
he made us do
gumbos,
push-ups.
Yeah,
Made us do push-ups in the water until it got hot.
now while your gumbo's cooking, you got to do wind sprints.
Yeah, it was insane. Like basically, there was one where I it wasn't me, it was another kid. But am I crazy? Or
Yes.
does every ice? Okay, well, good to know. Now, am I crazy? But is this also a weird fact? Does every school seem to have a Scuba Steve?
You're gonna need to elaborate on that. What do you mean?
I guess I'm just wrong. So I
you
feel
mean
like
the toy from the movie Big Daddy?
no, not the toy. I feel like I've been in several situations. Maybe it's just a Southern thing or something. I've been in several situations where someone named Steve had the nickname Scuba Steve.
Well, I think that came from the movie Big Daddy.
That's what. Okay, so I'm wondering how big that was, or if I just know like 4 guys whose nickname is Scuba Steve, and they're just not that interesting or something.
I mean, I remember it being kind of a big deal when that movie was out. This is another great one that our younger listeners are really gonna, attach to. They're really gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't try to take us here. I'm just telling you
I'm kidding.
the
Jeez.
person. I just feel like I feel crazy because I know I've.
It is weird that you knew like 4 guys named Scuba Steve, but I'm pretty sure they probably all have it just because of that movie.
Okay, that makes sense.
What I'm guessing, unless a couple of them were like scuba divers.
Yeah, I mean, at least one of them probably.
Are any of them a marine biologist now?
Oh, none of them.
Or a lifeguard?
Not at all.
Well, then I think they just watched that one Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah. I
is
think
what
you're
it's
right.
sounding like. That's what I'm guessing.
You really put it in perspective for me because I spent my entire childhood being like,
Yeah.
why is he named Scuba Steve and he's named Scuba? And then there's an adult named Scuba Steve.
I mean, it still, though, supports your thesis of wondering, are there a bunch of Scuba Steves? And your question going to, is that like an uncreative nickname? Yes. So it's just a different route, but we still got to kind of what your thesis was going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
just like,
took
yeah,
everyone on this long and terrible road to to get us to this place of one time when we were playing dodgeball and we were very early in the process. So only 15 minutes had passed. So only a few kids were out. They were running the laps, the weird obstacle course, and running back in. And at one point, this is a particularly epic game. At one point, maybe we're 45 minutes in now, so there's only like 5 minutes left in PE, and it's like a tight neck race to the point where he calls it, where he's like, all right, from now on, if you're out, because he knew it had to end sometime. And Scuba Steve got hit. He got hit real good in. I know there's a scientific term for it, but I'll just say stomach. Somebody got him in the stomach real good, and then
What other way?
like I don't know if it was the solar plex or like whatever hit
abdomen?
him. I mean, yeah, abdomen. Whatever hit him knocked the wind out of him.
Right.
But this is the other problem.
Diaphragm?
Diaphragm, maybe. Like this is the other problem is whatever
Intestines,
you throw a ball.
gut. I just wanted to see how
I
long
mean, that's too deep.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to
he
see
would-
how long I could interrupt you with
I
different.
mean, he would have been bleeding.
yeah.
You hurt his intestines.
Took a dodgeball right in the intestines.
Had to have it removed by a doctor. So basically, So the ball that hit him got him out, right? Mm-hmm. But even if you have the best of intentions and you're not trying to be a jerk, because there were kids like that who would try to like hit you when you weren't aware, even though you were out and you were walking off because they were just dicks. Sure. But in this was a genuine mistake. About 3 different kids threw a ball at Scuba Steve
as he was walking out.
No.
Okay.
In earnest, trying to get him out.
Okay.
One hit him in the stomach.
Right.
Which made him duck from the next one that was about to hit his face.
Right.
But as he came up, the last one, like the furthest one away, he just looked right up into it after he got hit in the stomach. So then he crawled. He crawled off of the court, and the PE teacher felt so bad for him. He was like, "Look, that was kind of uncalled for, even though it was a mistake. If you want to run a lap, I'll let you go back in." So he does. He's like, "All right, I'm going to do this for my team. I'm going to do this for myself, I guess."
I will have my revenge.
He runs this complicated lap.
He solves the lap puzzle, and then
yeah, and then right as he's like, you can see the smile on his face. And right as he's about to run on, like the movie Dodgeball, he's going to try to catch one to get somebody out or something.
Yeah.
He's like posted up. Like you could make a trophy out of him running back onto the court, just smiling mid-sprint, and then runs right into a ball that was meant for somebody else. And it hits him